Hi everyone, I'm Justin, the fitness director for Weight Watchers Clinic, and I asked you all a question, and the question was, what makes it hard for you to start exercising? And I got a lot of really great responses from the survey that I put in. I should also address that Scout's gonna help me answer these questions as well. So I came across some very common themes in what you all put down. And part of it, I'd like to actually read out what you put down for some of your barriers before I go into themes. And I won't read off all of them, but I just want to say that some things came through loud and clear. And we both appreciate you giving us some responses. We get a chance to learn and hopefully give you some good advice as well. So we had things like not an early morning person and exhausted after work. That was very common. Energy, okay? Time and energy. Time was also very common. And this one also says, thinking I don't have time or lacking motivation. It's interesting how much these are coming through. Lacking motivation, and they wrote down excuses. Motivation, joint pain. That one also came through loud and clear, joint pain as an issue. Not knowing what to do. That also came through loud and clear. People need direction. Making excuses, too hot, too cold. Some people have really identified that it was an excuse. Time. Lazy, weather and excuses. I make up for being a caregiver to my parent. We have motivation, lack of equipment, lack of access to the gym, don't know where to start, intimidated to go into a gym. So we've got a few things right there. So we have, there you go, buddy, you can relax. So motivation, not having equipment, not having direction, and then also just intimidation. So that's sort of the emotional side of things. Motivation, time, space, equipment, body pain. Yeah, that hits all of them. Motivation, time, equipment, pain. But then they said all there, but motivation is key. Timing and my ADHD, yeah, that's one that I've worked with people before where they very much need routine for this to all work out for them. Being overweight is discouraging because I don't have much time and stamina. Feeling self-conscious. Let's see what this one says. Work schedule. Sometimes I just don't know where to start. Knowing how to start, making the time. So these things came through really loud and clear. And what I'm hearing, so number one, probably one of the more important things was lack of time and energy, okay? Lack of time and energy was probably the biggest category. Then what we had was motivation and then mindset challenges. We had knowledge and guidance. We had physical limitations or barriers like joint pain. We had emotional and psychological barriers. We had social and environmental factors like not having a supportive community, feeling like they don't want to do it alone. We had equipment and accessibility, so maybe we didn't have access to equipment. And then people that really had a hard time just overall just being consistent. And so I want to go through these because a lot of people put down lack of time and then also energy. And I think these two things are both very important to cover. I talk about this all the time. Not all the time. So people often are short on time. It's like, how the heck am I gonna fit this new thing into my routine? Like, it's hard, without a doubt, it's challenging. And it's especially challenging if you feel like you need an hour for your exercise routine. Like if you're in the mindset that you need an entire hour to exercise, and I've said this a lot, so if this is a little redundant, I apologize, but if time and energy are issues, so what we need to do is we need to schedule. We need to be very diligent and also vigilant with our scheduling. We need to know when is this going to fit in. We need to look at our schedule. That's really the only way that this is going to work out. So we got to take a look at our schedule and see when can we fit this thing in, okay? Once we find when we can fit it in, that's when energy can become problematic. Let's say you had the time to do it, but you're exhausted, right? That makes it hard. Whenever that's the case, you need to reduce the task demand. I say this a lot, reduce the task demand, reduce the task demand. What does that mean? If I don't feel like doing it for 30 minutes, do it for 5 minutes, okay? 5 minutes, because that's going to make it easier for you to do it again in the future. I say this all the time, but every time you miss an exercise session, a planned exercise session, it makes it easier and easier to miss again, okay? Then what people said, this came through loud and clear, motivation. Okay, motivation is an interesting construct. And whenever you're making a decision to do something, it's dichotomous, either do it or don't do it, but that don't do it can involve so many other things. So maybe a better way to put it is I'm more motivated to do something else, okay? The motivation to exercise is not higher than your motivation to do something else. So what do we do in that situation? So like motivation is, without a doubt, it's important. And then we can think about, okay, can we enhance our motivation? So I ask everyone this, I say, what is exercise in service to? What are you getting out of it? Like, why is this personally valuable to you? What's different after you've been doing this for 10 months or something like that? One thing that I think is really interesting too is because if we're talking about being a parent, you learn from your parents. So if you're not exercising, your parents probably didn't exercise. And if you have kids, I think that this is a really great motive. I want to set a good example for my kids. Because if you exercise, that's going to increase the odds that they will exercise and that they'll be healthy. That's just one example of tapping into a why or tapping into a motive. So yeah, you can try to get yourself more motivated, but you can also try to avoid the situations where you have competing demands that you're more motivated to do. I tell people this all the time. Like if you're sitting on the couch watching Netflix, you're going to have to be super motivated to go and exercise. So you want to avoid the situations where it's hard to get started. And again, a lot of times people focus on motivation when they should be focusing on lowering the task demand. They should be focusing on making exercise easier versus trying to increase their motivation. Knowledge was a big one, not knowing what to do. And actually what I heard from here, which was great, was that our training videos have been helpful. So that's really great to hear. Without a doubt, especially when it comes to things like strength training, not knowing what to do is a huge barrier. So this page has tons of strength training content that is beginner friendly and also joint friendly, which goes to this next point, which was physical barriers. So if you're experiencing joint pain, our training videos are very joint friendly. So please go ahead and take a look at those. But if you're worried about what to do, just follow the strength training videos that we have. Over time, try to progressively increase the amount of weight that you're lifting, so increase the load. This is another interesting one. It dovetails in, and this will be one that I'll end on, which is emotional and psychological barriers. People saying things like a fear of looking ridiculous, I feel very self-conscious and just silly, discouraged by the fact that I used to be in shape. There goes my lights. Hey, we're back, and the lights are on. Okay, Scout and I were talking about emotional and psychological barriers. So discouraged by the fact that I used to be in shape, but I'm not now. No mental health benefits other than walking. Yeah, so this is a tough one, right? Because what does this do? If we have this emotional kind of aversion to a behavior, it's going to be very hard to do the behavior, okay? Now, when people say things like a fear of looking ridiculous, or I feel very self-conscious and just feel silly, and this is often when people are going into a gym or something like that, and I like to ask them, I say, is this permanent? I say, imagine that you went into a gym 3 days per week and you did that for 6 months. Are you still feeling the same way? And they're often like, no, I'm not. I'm probably a lot more confident. So we've identified that it's a transitory emotional state. It's not going to last forever, right? So the question is, hi, are you okay feeling this type of way temporarily if it's going to help you get what you want? And this is a concept that I really like. It's called workability. So if we let our emotions guide our behavior, is that going to help us get the results that we want to get? And if the answer is no, then those thoughts and our emotions are considered unworkable. We have to still do the behavior despite feeling this way. So emotions and stuff like that make it harder to do the behavior, but not impossible to do the behavior. So can we do it even if we feel like we're not confident, even if we feel like we might look a little bit silly? Because I promise you, if you can do it consistently for a while, you're gonna feel a lot better about it. I want to add, and I also want to help out here too, but a lot of these barriers, so for example, lack of time and energy, motivation, knowledge, physical pain, emotional and psychological barriers, all of this can be overcome by working with a professional, okay? So you might want to consider working with a personal trainer for a few sessions. Now, I'll put my email address up. It's justin.conf90@gmail.com. If you are looking for a personal trainer, I can see if I can reach out to my community and see if there's somebody in your area. So feel free to send me an email. But a personal trainer will help you with all of those things. So if you schedule a time, you're going to show up, okay? That's why one of the main reasons why personal trainers work is that you pay for it and you schedule a time with them. So making that schedule is super helpful. Motivation doesn't matter. Does not matter anymore because you've scheduled the time and you're showing up to work with somebody. Knowledge and guidance, they're gonna help make sure you do everything correctly. Physical barriers, a good personal trainer is going to be able to help you if you have any joint pain to modify exercises to make sure that you're doing it safely. And then in terms of just emotional barriers too, they're gonna work with you for that. Like they're gonna make sure that you feel confident and confident when you're in the gym. So again, if you want some help with that, I'll see if I have anyone that I know, or that maybe I know someone that knows somebody that's in your area. So again, just send me an email at justin.conf90@gmail.com. Again, I will do a next video, which was what derails you from your exercise effort. So I'll make a video for that. Again, thank you for giving me a chance to learn from you. And I hope you got a chance to learn what to do if these barriers are descriptive of you.